All right, so we last left off of the differences between communism and democracy. Now we're going to talk a little bit about containment. Basically, the Truman Doctrine, which came about from President Harry S. Truman in March 1947, was a policy we're not going to be able to defeat the Russians, but we can stop this onslaught of communism that's kind of taken over all of Europe and uh, parts of Asia. So, what is it? Basically, we're going to throw money at the problem. We're going to fight a series of quasi wars or proxy wars that are outside. We're never going to directly fight the Soviet Union. So, the first act of containment was there's a lot of in-house fighting. There's civil war happening in Greece and Turkey, where you have communists that are fighting one another. We give the country of Greece and Turkey $400 million to stop that. If we look here, you see a picture of Truman on the right. On the left is a cartoon where an iron curtain is being pulled over the eastern part of the USSR with Joseph Stalin, the dictator of Russia, surrounding those Baltic states of Latvia, Estonia, and parts of Poland around the Adriatic down further south, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia. All right, so General Marshall came up with what was called the Marshall Plan. So we have to think back during World War II. What was happening there? Well, we know that after watching The Pianist, we know that all these cities were firebombed, like Dresden. They were destroyed. They were leveled. Everything's flattened, blown to smithereens. So obviously people can't live there. So they're homeless. How many? 11 to 20 million people wandered throughout mainly Eastern Europe that were homeless. And when you have homeless and you have 11 to 20 million people are going to be hungry. They're going to be feeling hopeless. They're in despair. So the Marshall Plan was, let's get at the root of the problems. Let's build up Europe back, and we can stop that fear of the unknown. Because then when you have the fear and the unknown, you start having people turn to fascism with Adolf Hitler. That's how he rose. There was a lot of fear, poverty, despair, and we didn't want to have people turn to communism. So we gave $13 billion, which is equivalent to $100 million. And we basically, if you give somebody a lot of money, they're not going to, turn around and slap you in the face afterwards. They're going to probably be your friend. So we give lots of money to these countries like Germany, Austria, Italy, and France, Spain. The success of the plan reduces poverty. People start going home. Right, they're repatriated back to their homelands. United States takes in about 400,000 immigrants, 138,000 of which are European Jewry. Not a whole lot of Jews. Remember, right around 1948, you have the Jewish state of Israel created. Many, if not most, of the European Jewry are going to immigrate and go to Israel. And communism never becomes popular there. All right, so what we have to think about now is what do we do? Remember, we had the Yalta and the Potsdam Conference. How do we divvy up Germany? So this is what happened. The United States gets the beautiful scenic areas of this zone here, which has like Bavaria, Munich, beautiful scenic areas. We love the vacation. France gets the areas that are typically close to them. Great Britain, they have a very big navy, so they want access to the water. And USSR wanted a little bit more of a buffer, so they get the industrial areas of like Berlin and Dresden and whatnot. If we look, though, Berlin is also divvied up into zones, also sectors. Inside those sectors are the same four big countries: France, United States, Russia, and Great Britain. But it's inside the USSR, and that's going to create some problems, as we'll see on the next slide. So what happens is the USSR says enough's enough. I see what you guys are doing. You're giving lots of money to these impoverished people and giving them hope. You're trying to become their friends by throwing money around. Well, we don't like that, you know. So we're going to blockade all the railroads and highways into Berlin. What was the United States response? Well, they did round the clock. Every 7 minutes or so, a plane is landing into Berlin's two main airports, bringing anything from water, food, candy. Cigarettes are very popular. Remember, that's the culture of the time. Today we know that those cancer sticks are not good for us, but at the time nobody knew that. Doctors were smoking in the hospitals, basically. They're smoking a cigarette as they're checking your lungs. It's ironic, but it was true. All right, so this is the first major crisis. United States and Great Britain. What's USSR going to do? Are they going to shoot down airplanes? That would kind of be equivalent to there's a tsunami in Indonesia and people are trying to get medical supplies and food and necessities, and somebody shoots down their planes. It's not a very good public relations. It's not really good for public relations at all. Plus, if you shoot down one of the American planes or the British planes, it's pretty much going to be an act of war. So the Berlin airlift continues for quite some time. And that's where we're going to end today.